I love it. We're going to get to the meat of his new agenda. That's coming up next. Attorney General Hector Balderas in studio. Coyote 102.5. Coyote 102.5. It's 8:43 on your Friday morning, courtroom style fashion Friday, as we dressed to impress the new Attorney General Hector Balderas in studio this morning. We got through the warm and squishy parts, the get to know you part of having Hector Balderas in studio this morning. And now I want to get to some serious stuff. Congratulations, by the way, on your new position. And you did an excellent job at the press conference yesterday.
Thank you. Thank you.
One of the things that really impacted me as I was watching the press conference is the fact that you were going to pledge to fight child predators, including molesters and people involved with child pornography, as well as violent criminals. And I had heard that there was a case here in New Mexico that involved an 18-month-old child who was victimized, not by just one person, but allegedly several members of the family. And the person at the forefront of this crime was able to plea out and not receive any jail time. That and many other cases like that have given you cause and reason to come in and change some of these policies.
Well, I really believe the Attorney General's office is one of the most powerful, influential offices in the state, but it's worthless if it doesn't protect the most vulnerable citizens. And when you have an 18-month-old child abused, it doesn't matter if it's a systemic dropping of the ball or if it's the criminals themselves who hurt the child, or if it's elected officials who don't properly fund preventative programs. The Attorney General's office needs to get into a street fight for the most vulnerable, and that's what the press conference was about, which was about tangible changes where we were going to hold the line and make sure people go to jail. A criminal offense deserves a criminal consequence, and that if the system fails, we were about to declare war on certain failures there as well. So we were going to be much more active, and that was the whole point of the press conference.
Excellent.
Nice.
And you did a great job of explaining that. Also, you mentioned that New Mexico is always at the top or the bottom of the list, whichever way you want to look at it, but the worst when it comes to violent crime. You've got some plans for that, too.
Well, I think that, first you tell the truth to the people, and that's what I did as state auditor is, look, this is where waste and corruption is. And then we'll figure out the solutions together. And the Attorney General needs to be honest. We are the second most dangerous state in the United States. And guess who's first? Alaska. And I don't mean to be jokey here, but that doesn't really count. I mean, that's a different demographic.
Sure.
It's a different socioeconomic culture. We, for all intents and purposes, are the worst in the Southwest. And that is just something that everybody needs to get on the same page. And then we need to find out where these vulnerabilities are. And for me, we need to lead by example. And we're going to run into the storm. We're going to assemble the best prosecutors and the best leaders throughout the communities. And we're going to run and take on these tough cases.
OG AG Balderas, OG original gangster, AG Attorney General. He is the OG AG. We got some phones ringing. You mind if we take a call?
Absolutely.
Coyote, good morning.
We should do something about all the repeat offenders that have multiple DUIs.
Now
Yeah.
that's a good question. We thank you, caller, for that one. I heard that there was some either pending legislation, I don't know who it's being sponsored by, where they would actually make it illegal for anyone who has an interlock ignition device to actually buy alcohol, too. That's one thing that I've heard of that's cooking in the legislature. But as far as your office goes, what kind of power do you have to crack down on repeat drunk driving offenders?
Well, we're going to start working directly with district attorneys around the state. And so when they're overworked or there's a complex DWI or there's even a driving while intoxicated case that has a lot of technical defenses, we're going to provide training, support, and get out there in the street fight with them. They're the only three things that have ever proven to work on DWI is obviously prevention. And we can also be the bad guy here when it comes to a failure to put enough resources in prevention. These kids start drinking early on in junior high, and this can't be casual as our attack. And then secondly, the judicial penalties. Your caller alluded, we don't even really have enhancement for repeat DWIs,
Sure.
and so we need to toughen judicial penalties. I know the governor tried to do it her first year, and it fell through. We can, as AG, revisit that and push for it. And then finally, we need definitely more treatment. I was in Rio Reba with the epidemic in drugs and alcohol, and they have like 20-some beds. It's absolutely embarrassing.
Yeah.
So we can do a lot in a lot of areas, but obviously toughen judicial penalties and start getting greater accountability in the system.
I love that you have a plan in place to attack that. I would actually like to add one more option. I've actually implemented this in my own home already. I've put an interlock on my front door. I'm not even allowed to leave the house, let alone get in the car. Can we put that as part of it as well? I think that I'm on the front lines here, the cutting edge.
It's obvious that you can't leave the house because I told you to go shopping to wear a suit for today, and this is what you came up with.
And to go shower.
Your jail
I failed you on
jumpsuit.
both fronts. I
apologize for everything that happens on that side of the board.
Come on.
Mr. Balderas. But we're going to be right back with you. We're going to have a little more fun. We know it's been stressful for you, right? You had the whole campaign, then you start the new job, and it's the inauguration and balls and press conferences, and then getting down to the business of the hard work that you have to do. So we just want this to be a little place of respite for you. Let's just have a little siesta and a little fun. Are you down?
I'm down.
Okay, we're going to do it next with the Attorney General, Hector Balderas, next. It's 8:48 on Coyote 102.5. I think we have had a lot of fun this morning, but the position that you've just taken over is a very serious position. And so I want to do a serious question for today's Facebook poll. It is, what do the people of New Mexico see as the biggest public safety concern here today in 2015? What do you, as a New Mexico resident, find the biggest public safety concern for you? Now, we're going to get differing answers based on where people live, of course, because every area has different issues that they deal with. So what about you? What your part of town, your experience, Hoffberg? We're going to go with the Attorney General last.
Okay. Based on what's just been going on in the last week in our fine city here, I would say the biggest public safety concern, in my opinion, is being a passenger on an ABQ ride bus. And that's only because, nothing to do with ABQ ride. The drivers were not at fault in either situation, but people are just blowing through red lights and running into these buses. Like I said earlier, Erica, I feel like the ABQ ride buses are the new cans from The Jerk. You remember how that guy was shooting all the cans? That's how I feel the ABQ ride buses are now.
He hates these cans! Stay away from the cans!
Stay away from the cans!
You're right.
People are targeting the cans.
Probably not the biggest public safety concern, but it is topical, so thank you for that.
Thank you.
For me, I guess I would have to say I hear about just a lot of break-ins, certain neighborhoods that get targeted, and one house after another has had their windshield smashed and things stolen out of their vehicle, or tires stolen off their cars, or homes broken into in the middle of the day. Just all that little, that I wouldn't call it petty crime. What is the actual term for that? Property crimes?
Property crimes. Yeah, no, those are, we had our home broken in. It's awful. So it's a big problem. The mayor, APD, there's a lot of task forces focusing on that as well.
What do you think that the general public can do, just besides being aware, to keep their own neighborhood safe? What do you think we're not doing?
Well, the first is go with a security door, a wrought iron. Preventative measures deter almost 70-80% of burglaries. So burglaries look for opportunity. You got to work to reduce that. Once you can't prevent all burglaries, but you can do everything you can to reduce the opportunity.
Okay.
I got a big-ass dog with a big-ass bark. That's what I did because, like you said, burglars are looking for opportunities. If you're going to burgle a home, are you going to go to the one that has a big dog in it, or are you going to go to the one that's empty?
Exactly. I have to agree on that. Having a big dog, if you can take care of one, is a good thing, too. That's what I do as well. That was well said. So what do you think, as the newly elected Attorney General, the biggest public safety concern for New Mexico is right now?
Well, we're going to reach out, go on a public safety tour, and really get the actual issues from the people at every corner of the state soon. But for me, we are going to direct resources to the worst of the worst, because the most violent criminals are the ones that are causing really the most horrific and heinous crimes. And so whether it's sex offenders, whether it's violent criminals, and whether it's white-collar corruption, at the largest levels, we're going to make sure that we do everything we can to go after the worst of the worst, to start there. And then we're going to work with the community and reach out and then figure out where our other priorities should be.
Awesome. Thank you. It's been so much fun having you in here this morning. Also pretty illuminating, too. Thank you for answering a lot of our questions on air, and then some off air, too, that we just had about the legal system and the state of affairs here in New Mexico. And I want to apologize for this. For all of this mess over here.
I wanted to make the Attorney General feel at home. I dressed in court attire. This is the court attire I'm used to wearing. Thank you very much.
And you didn't have to shave your head for me. I'm really honored that
Bald Brotherhood.
wow.
Bald
you shaved your
Brotherhood,
head for me and everything
OG.
for visiting. Appreciate it.
We were going to shave yours in studio, but then
Yeah, yeah. And then I said, well, you know, his head is already shaved. You could help him oil it, perhaps. But I said, just make sure you don't get out the oil and have the gloves on when he comes in studio.
we'll save that for his next trip.
We'll save it. Yeah, exactly. We thought that might be a little off-putting for your first time. So will you come back for the head oiling and whatever
The
else
head
we
oil.
decide?
We will anoint you.
I will come back. I will come back.
Okay.
You know, I'm actually going to need you all as partners. We're going to be tackling bullying, public safety for kids, protecting children all over the community, and we're going to need great voices like your own.
Can we tackle bullying right here? Look immediately to your right.
Where's my lawyer?
This is the biggest
Don't
bully.
even get me started.
Biggest bully in New
Don't
Mexico.
make me strike you right in front of the OGAG.
All right.
And the one last thing I will say, if there are citizens who do have individual concerns too and they want to contact your office, how do they go about doing that?
Well, the best way is to go to our website or just Google my name, Hector Balderas, for Attorney General, and get on there. We actually even have a Balderas Elect website where communities can reach out to me directly at balderaselect.com.
Awesome.
Again, that's Hector Balderas, not Antonio Banderas.
There you go.
Balderas.
I'm glad we
not
made that
Banderas.
distinction. And go follow him on Twitter, too. Let's go have some fun on Twitter. That's Hector Balderas, the new Attorney General. Thank you so much for coming in. I know you have to get to your next thing, and I'm just completely gratified and amazed that you had 1 hour to spend in here this morning. Thank you very much.
Thanks for having me.
It's
Thank
good
you.
to have you on board. It's 9:22. We're going to be back with Coyote Rewind next. Keep it here, Coyote 102.5.